Hello, and welcome to another episode of Soap Goes to the Oscars. This is number 140. I'm recording on January 10th, 2026. I watched the movie on January 9th, 2026. So this is the first movie that I watched in 2026. And it is also the first movie that I'm watching from the 1944 Oscars or year. And this is the first year where they started calling it Best Motion Picture. And ending in 1943, they were calling it Outstanding Motion Picture. And Best Motion Picture lasts up through 1961 before they just changed it to Best Picture. So we got a while before we get there. This one was on the Internet Archive. I did find a version on YouTube and I started watching that, but it had two people down in the bottom corner talking about the movie. So I immediately shut that shit off and went to the Internet Archive, which is kind of funny for me to say that I don't want to. I mean, I wouldn't mind listening to somebody's podcast about it. I don't want to watch the movie with them talking about it unless I've already seen it, and probably not even then. So starting off strong with no cost so far. I might have to rent one or two from this round. And also, I forgot to say, this is also the first year where they stick to 5 movies. If you listen to the last couple episodes, I was pushing to get through 1943 by the end of 2025, and I did. That was the last year where they did 10 movies. So now we're on to 5 movies. So, in theory, I could get through 2 years worth of movies in about the same amount of time that I got through one before. The funny thing, I've talked about this before, the funny thing is when I go through a bunch of 10 movies, I'm like really into it, especially like the end of last year. I was trying to get through those movies and it was a good year of movies for the most part. Ending with Casablanca, I was looking forward to watching that again. And then when I finish pushing through those 10 movies, I have a tendency to like kind of not watch them again and there was the holidays and everything. So, we watch Christmas movies and stuff like that instead of these types of movies. And I had wanted to kind of take a break anyway, but I find myself like I have to push myself to get back into this a little bit. And then once I do, I start going through it, trying to get through it quickly again. So, and we'll see how it goes now with only 5 movies a year. Maybe it won't drain me as much. Anyway, Double Indemnity is a 1944 American film noir directed by Billy Wilder and produced by Buddy DeSilva and Joseph Sistrom. Wilder and Raymond Chandler adapted the screenplay from James M. Cain's novel of the same name, which ran as an 8-part serial in Liberty magazine in 1936. The film stars an insurance salesman, Walter Neff, played by Fred McMurray, who plots with a woman, Barbara Stanwyck, to kill her husband in order to claim a life insurance payment, arousing the suspicion of claims manager Barton Keyes, played by Edward G. Robinson. The title refers to a double indemnity clause, which doubles life insurance payouts when death occurs in a statistically rare manner. The film was nominated for 7 Academy Awards. Widely regarded as a classic, Double Indemnity is often cited as having set the standard for film noir and is one of the greatest films of all time. Those awards were Best Motion Picture, Best Director for Billy Wilder, Best Actress for Barbara Stanwyck, Best Screenplay for Wilder and Raymond Chandler, Best Cinematography Black and White, Best Scoring of a Dramatic or Comedy Picture, and Best Sound Recording. Cinematography by John Seitz, edited by Doane Harrison, music by Miklos Rosa. Produced and distributed by Paramount Pictures, released July 3rd, 1944, with a runtime of 107 minutes. Yeah, so, without spoiling too much, the basic story here is that Fred McMurray plays a insurance salesman who goes to a house to try to get a guy to re-up his car insurance, which has lapsed, and he meets his wife, played by Barbara Stanwyck, and kind of instantly falls for her. And through, coming back and trying to get the husband to sign up for the insurance, they sort of start discussing things and decide that they're going to, take out a life insurance policy on him with a double indemnity clause and then take him out. And, from there things kind of they seem to go well, but in the end they don't. One thing I'll say from the start is I thought, or I guess assumed, because of the sort of nature of this one, I didn't really know the story, but it's just seemed like a Hitchcock movie to me. So I had thought that this was a Hitchcock movie, and I was just, and without doing any research on these beforehand, for the most part, when they came up, Billy Wilder, I was surprised. There's a lot of information on Wikipedia here. I'm not going to go through too much. I will say there's one part here that says original ending. The screenplay ends with Keyes watching Neff's execution in the gas chamber. Wilder shot the scene from Neff's perspective, looking out of the gas chamber at Keyes. Wilder shot for 5 days and spent $150,000 on the scene, which he felt was one of the best he ever directed. Production stills of this scene exist, and the footage may still be in Paramount's vault. However, the director ultimately decided to end the film with Keyes and Neff in their office because you couldn't have a more meaningful scene between two men. The story was between the two guys. Chandler objected to the change. Joseph Breen felt the execution was unduly gruesome, and its removal settled his office's last issue with the film. Contemporary reviews of the film were largely positive, though its content made some uncomfortable. While some critics found the story implausible and disturbing, others praised it as an original thriller. In the New York Times, my man Bosley Crowther called the picture steadily diverting despite its monotonous pace and length. He complained that the two lead characters lacked the attractiveness to render their fate of emotional consequence, but also felt the movie possessed a realism reminiscent of the bit of past French films. That's it from Wikipedia, I think. So this was really good. I watched this late at night, and as I've said before, I sometimes get distracted, and I find that when I watch something at night, I am a little bit more distracted and maybe go on my phone a little more, because I think part of it is that I'm tired and I'm trying to sort of keep myself awake. And that was the case here. I wasn't overly tired, but the movie does have a slow pace, and it's a bit long at an hour and 47 minutes. It drags in a few places, I think. I gave it 4 stars. It's very, very good. But I think that pacing and the length is a little bit of a drag. So, and nothing terrible, nothing too offensive, over the length. It's not over 2 hours, but, that for me probably is what kept it from being a little bit of a higher score. So, yep, enjoyed it very much. Fred McMurray was very good. Everybody was really good. Edward G. Robinson kind of surprised me. I don't think he's popped up in anything else I've watched. And I sort of had an image of him. He's parodied in the Looney Tunes and stuff sometimes, I think. And from my knowledge of him, he tends to play more like gangsters and heavies. But he was very good in this, kind of comedic in parts, and just all around a good performance. So yeah, I like this one a lot, and I've gone a bit long here, so I will end it, and we'll see you next time.